Welcome to 10-minute well-being tips for managers. This is week 3. Please keep yourself on mute because we are recording. So this is what it often looked like growing up in Western New York. It was not uncommon. Probably about 5 months of the year it would be difficult to see while we were driving. I grew up there with 3 siblings. We didn't have any other family there. Our family was in Washington, D.C. and New York City. And we never flew to visit our relatives. We always drove. There was one time I particularly remember, my dad sat my brother and I down at the kitchen table the night before, took out a map. We used paper maps then, not Google Maps. And he highlighted the roads and highways we were going to be taking to drive to Washington, D.C. the next day. We left the next day after work, so it was already at night. None of us drove, just my dad and my mom. And sure enough, we all fell asleep. And at some point during the trip, I woke up to a silent car, except for my dad, and asked him, "Hey, Dad, how much longer do we have?" And he said, "Well, Richard, the good news is we're making good time. The bad news is we're lost," which, of course, had me scratching my head. You know, not a surprise, my dad was unable to drive safely and look at the map at the same time. Without us helping, it made it more difficult for us to get to our destination. And sharing a well-being vision with your team will make it easier for you to get to your well-being destination. Last week, I shared this slide, a list of possibilities for you as a team leader to take with your team to support their well-being. And today we're going to focus on sharing a well-being vision. A well-being vision should be an inspirational statement of an idealistic future. You're more likely familiar with company vision statements, things around the business, so why the company exists. So here's Johns Hopkins Medicine's vision statement. I have to read it. I don't have it memorized. Johns Hopkins Medicine pushes the boundaries of discovery, transforms healthcare, advances medical education, and creates hope for humanity. Together, we will deliver the promise of medicine. For many teams, discussing health and well-being is not normal. It's not the usual. Some people, some leaders are uncomfortable. What is the separation between what's acceptable in work and what's private? So we already do discuss health and well-being in the workplace. We talk about safe hand washing so we don't get sick. We talk about needle safety so we don't get poked. For those people who are in lifting as part of their job, we talk about safe lifting practices so our back doesn't hurt. It goes on. So as a team leader, please feel comfortable raising the idea of well-being. Now, people don't have to participate in that conversation, and they don't have to say anything that's private to them. It is okay for you to have general questions. Don't put people on the spot and be coercive, and you'll be fine. Well-being is not achieved through activities alone. It's great that we have programs like Race the Globe Steps Challenge, which, by the way, is today's day 3. We just started 2 days ago. You can still sign up. Hey, Tara, can you put something in the chat box? This is a little commercial. It'd be great to do this with your team. But anyway, it's great that we have activities and programs, but really having a vision, a well-being vision, gives us something to strive for, something to drive toward. Now, this is a chipmunk sitting at 10,000 feet above sea level. This chipmunk sitting on North Dome, which is a mountain on the east side of Yosemite Valley, looking into the valley. And that chipmunk sat and looked into that valley for some time. And I couldn't help but think that that chipmunk was looking and imagining and knowing what their vision is. A vision inspires us to get to a better place. Some of you may recall President John F. Kennedy's vision of putting a man on the moon. That simple sentence inspired NASA to unite and have all of the personnel work together to make an unbelievable achievement to get a man on the moon. Now, you can choose your ingredients for a vision. If you Google, there's probably a different list out there, but it's good to have an idea of how to create a well-being vision. And the first being inspirational, the vision generating enthusiasm. Next is to make sure the people on your team have an input. They want to know that their values and ideals are represented. And by the way, having one's opinion count is one of the issues on the Glint survey, and an issue that we didn't do so well as an organization. So make sure that folks on the team feel like they've had a say. The vision should be understandable. People should be able to explain it to their friends or their family members, and they should be able to see themselves in this vision. The vision should speak to the individual. It should help the individual feel like it was meant for them and not just meant for the organization, not just another business tactic. And finally, the vision should help people imagine how they can contribute to this vision. So I don't know how many of you have noticed on the cover slide of this deck and the last 2 weeks that we include the vision statement each week. Our team a few years ago, probably 4 years ago now, spent several sessions and many emails thinking about a well-being vision for us as a team and for those people at Hopkins who chose to adopt this vision. And we decided that we wanted our workday to enhance our well-being, not harm our well-being. We know that having a purpose and making a contribution to a greater cause than oneself are ingredients for well-being. So we know that a job can be part of a well-being vision. We also believe that having social connectedness and a chance to move, an opportunity to have nourishing food and beverages can help us leave work at the end of the day healthier than when we arrived. There is no right or wrong well-being vision. It's really a matter of degrees of how well it resonates with your team, how much it unites your team to work together to support each other on this vision or with this vision. And so we have several ideas this week. You'll notice manager tip number 4. We didn't start with 1, 2, or 3 because those are in previous episodes that we hope to get up on the Office of Wellbeing website soon. Manager tip number 4, create your own well-being vision. What is your vision? What do you see? How would you like to see your future? Would you like to walk your daughter down the aisle? Would you hope to be healthy enough to enjoy your retirement, to be able to visit family? Whatever your vision is, write it down and put it in a couple of places where you look often, like your bathroom mirror or the dashboard of your car, so that when you read it, you can be reminded as to why you're taking steps to support and enhance your well-being. So that's for you. Now, agenda tip number 2 for your team. Discuss the meaning of well-being. So you may not be ready to just dive in with a discussion of the vision of well-being for your team, but maybe you would have a discussion about what well-being means to each person on the team. We discussed this in our first episode. What does well-being mean to you? To me, it means nature, being on top of North Dome in Yellowstone, having time with my family. And for you, it might be something different. And I bet if you did that exercise with the team, you'd find some overlap. And one thing I've heard over and over again from inside Johns Hopkins is that work-life balance is a vision for a lot of people. So maybe that's the case for your team. Another idea for your agenda is to discuss the why well-being is important at work. Again, episode 1, but now we're saying, hey, have that conversation. Ask people, why is it important? And things like knowing you're at work 8 or 12 hours a day and you spend more time with the people on your team than you do with people that you live with could generate a lot of ideas about what a vision could look like. And finally, creating that shared well-being vision. Now, Tara, can you put the survey, the link in the chat box? We really appreciate you answering a couple of questions to help us know how useful the agenda tips are and whether or not you would ask a friend to come next week, because we know it's difficult to get here, but we also know that it's 10 minutes and we try to make it as effective and quick as possible. Here are our resources. Instagram is up. We just had a contribution from the pediatric neurosurgery department a couple of days ago. We hope that you'll join us in our virtual community and create a sense of good feeling towards well-being.